16 of the Modern Skein podcast. My name is Sharon Graff, and I'm the owner of the Modern Skein, which is a yarn shop here in Montgomery, Texas. Episode 16. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and for putting up with all my little shenanigans in each video, and for subscribing and giving thumbs up and likes every video. It's so amazing, and I'm so grateful to each and every one of you guys for watching the podcast. So hello. If you're a new viewer, welcome. And if you're a new viewer, if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. We have lots and lots to go over today, and I have a finished object, as you can see behind me. Scoot over. So this is, we're just going to jump right into finished objects. This is the May sweater by Andrea Mowry. Right here, May sweater. As you can see, mine looks a lot longer than hers in the picture, but it's really the perfect length. My yarn is Brooklyn Tweed Ranch, which is no longer available, and it's not a yarn that I carry in the store, but it is a worsted weight, and you could use any worsted weight yarn out there. I'll say the reason why mine is so long, even though when I knit it up to the dimensions, that it called for, is because I believe the type of yarn that this is. So this is, it's a worsted weight, but it's then a woolen spun, so it has more air into it, which made it grow lengthwise a lot more than I anticipated based on the swatch that I had done. So I think that's why we have so much length. But really it comes to about mid-thigh on me, which is great for leggings, which is kind of how I plan to wear this. It covers the rear. Of course, it does have the high-low hem, so it is longer in the back than it is in the front. And then it just has these little tiny kind of cap sleeve. It comes down to about mid-shoulder or mid-upper arm on me. And the V is fairly deep. I need to wear like an undershirt, but I made the size medium. If I were to knit this again, I would go with the size small. Although it's going to be really nice and comfy and oversized, especially for winter. I can see myself wearing like long sleeve shirts underneath it, or tank tops and leggings, little booties, things like that. The only modification I did to this pattern at all was in the back. So because of the deep V, when I tried it on, I noticed that it had a tendency to slip off my shoulders, which I wasn't really wanting, because with the weight of it, it would kind of drag it down. So I added this little I-cord, and I counted 5 ribs, ribbing stitches from the shoulder seam on each side, and attached just an I-cord. It's drooping a little bit here, but when it's on, it keeps it from falling off both shoulders. It might slip off one shoulder, it might slip off the other, but it doesn't let both shoulders slip off. So it was easy to add on. Just made a little I-cord with the extra yarn that I have. And it's a cute little design detail, because you'll see in stores a lot of shirts have this kind of, especially when they're deeper or a more plunging back, they'll have like a strip of fabric or something on there. So, ta-da! It turned out really well. I'm just going to slide it over there. Okay, so that was my finished object this week. Yay! And that's the only one I did. However, we also have another new sample into the store, not finished by me, but finished by Grace. She made the Barley Hat by Tin Can Knits, and isn't this cute? I mean, there's all sorts of different ways you could wear it, but ta-da! And the fun little pom-pom. So this, I don't know if you can see it, but you have the garter texture and you have the stockinette. And this yarn is sport weight. I believe the pattern calls for sport or DK. And it is NBK, the ink blot colorway. So it has a great kind of striping, splotchy effect on the hat. It was really cute. So another hat sample for in the shop. And it was a quick knit. She said she knit it in a afternoon, I think, watching TV. So that's a new sample we have in the store. She also brought in some other shawl samples as well. Some of you might have already seen that. We've got, let me grab this one real quick. I don't know why I grabbed it though, because I can't tell you the name of it. All I know is it's 2 skeins of fingering weight, preferably single ply. And it's this really fun stripy eyelet shawl. I'll get the name from Grace, and because we haven't made a tag for it yet, I'll get the name and we'll post it, I guess, on the comments here. Or maybe Grace, if you're watching, post the name of this. I want to say it began with an R or maybe an H, or I have no idea. So, okay, now on to works in progress. I have quite a few works in progress, and I think I brought every work in progress that I have started at the moment, which is, nope, I didn't. Nuts. I forgot the one that I've actually worked on. No, I've actually worked on 2 others, but I forgot the cardigan that I'm making for Josh. Well, I think you may have seen, I think I brought it the last time because I'd gone through 2 repeats of the full Celtic cable knot. So anyway, let's just do that to get it over with because I don't have it with me, but this is a picture, as you've all seen, Mount Vernon sweater that I'm knitting for Josh. Beautiful cable work. So now I've got about this much done because you knit it in the flat, the front panels and the side and back. And so I've got about that much done. 2 pattern repeats plus the ribbing. So I think I have to go another full pattern repeat, like probably 1.5, and then I'll be able to split for the sleeves. It's kind of what it looks like based on the pattern here, or the picture. So it's just a certain number of inches and I haven't measured it yet, but I'm not there yet because I don't think he wants to wear a cropped cardigan. Excuse me. So that is that. Imaginary finish, well, it's not finished, imaginary work in progress. Then we have the My Chrysalis shawl. So I have not worked on My Chrysalis shawl in maybe a month, which is kind of bad, but I'm going to start picking it up. This is what the finished object looks like. This is what I have done, so not very much. But this is done with 2 skeins of yarn, a fingering weight, and then a fingering to sport weight fluffy textured yarn. The pattern calls for Baby Suri Alpaca, which is a yarn by Ching Fibers, which we will be carrying this coming December. That is our tentative ship date right now with Layla and the Ching team. So, put this on your queue and we'll make a huge announcement once we start carrying it in December. But it is possibly the most fluffy yarn you'll ever work with. It is amazing. It's like mohair, but not the lacy fiddliness of mohair, because this, as you can see, that's the ply that you're working with. So it's, I mean, you can treat it almost like a DK or a really heavy fingering sport weight I mean, it compresses too because it's fluffy. It's mostly fluff, but it's really fun to work with. So, and it gives you great texture. The Stephen West Mystery Knit Along, you can use that or mohair, either way. I will actually be using Baby Suri Alpaca because it'll be a store sample, and then Grace is going to do one in a single strand of mohair, and a couple of you guys are in the shop that are also participating in Stephen West's Mystery Knit Along are doing either 1 strand or 2 strands held double of mohair. So that's my chrysalis shawl. Let me put this away. So not really any progress done on that. The other thing that hasn't gotten much light of day, because actually I couldn't find where I put it. I meant to work on this week, but I didn't remember which project bag I had put it in, and I literally just found it this morning. So this is my Rhapsody in Cables. Let me show you the picture. So that's what the finished object should look like. And we have, make sure, yeah, we have a front piece. Yay! So what I have to do now, I believe, I don't know, I have to look on the pattern. I don't know if I pick up this side or in this middle yet. I think I pick up in the middle and go the other direction. But anyway, I do plan on working on that this week. So that's my Rhapsody in Cables sweater. So the finished May sweater, I believe I have to do my count. Let's do the count live. So I finished this year my Weekender in January. I finished, the rest I don't remember in order. So my Weekender, my Tecumseh, my Tegna, my squared poncho, May sweater, oh, the one that I did out of mink, that's an Isabel Kramer pattern, Westbourne. I did that one. It's not up here at the store. I'll need to bring it. My Hayward. Looking around the shop. Oh, the test knit I did for Joji, which was the lounge sport top, which was kind of like a shell sleeveless sweater. I'm counting it. That's 8. So May, yeah, that should be right. Oh, Sunset Highway. 9. Yeah. We just started October. That means I got to finish one in October because my goal is 12 sweaters in this year. So I've completed 9 sweaters, and I have number 10 and Josh's, which is number 11, already cast on. I still have one more to decide on to do this year and cast on and I got to get my butt cranking on this one because I really want to finish this one this year too. That's Rhapsody in Cables. Oh, and the yarn on the chrysalis shawl, I told you it was Baby Suri Alpaca and fingering weight, but I'm using Ching Fibers sock for the fingering weight in colorway Annie, which is that really pretty rust color. But this is Malabrigo Arroyo, which is their sport light DK yarn, and it's not Palomo. I want to say Palomo. I don't know the colorway. I have a skein at home that still has the tag on it, so I'll have to look it up. But it's this really pretty, it never shows up right on camera. It always reads more blue purple, and it's truly more of like a fuchsia and grape. That makes sense? Fuchsia, grape, and wisteria is what I would say the colors are, because it's definitely more of a tonal yarn. Okay, so that's that. Then I have my Kyler shawl, which I actually worked quite a bit on yesterday and got a decent amount done on it. I believe I am on the final repeat before I start adding the stockinette section. I need to recount my repeats, but I believe last night when I counted that that's what I was on. And you know, it almost looks like my gauge has gotten looser, which is weird. Because I'll say my gauge was quite nice and tight up here at the beginning. And then, I don't know, look at that. That seems really loose, but these are the same needles. I don't know, I may rip that back because that looks kind of funky. That's like two repeats that have the funky gauge. I don't know. Yeah, I'm probably gonna rip it back because that'll annoy me. Because, you know, when you block lace, you spread it out more, and then the chevron pattern isn't as clear. You know. I mean, not like I'm gonna block it quite that much, but still. Like down here, if you block it, it lets the chevron pattern, you know, it's gonna pop. I don't know if you can even really see that. But up here, it just seems like it gets distorted. Anywho, that's my Kyler wrap. This is the Kyler by Isabel Kramer. And we're actually having a class October... What day is it? It's the 1st. I believe October 11th is the Kyler shawl class. So with the Kyler shawl class, you get the Kyler pattern if you don't have it already. If you do, don't worry, bring it with you. But go ahead and grab your yarn, and we're going to go over casting on, reading the chart, because it is a completely charted pattern. There is no written out instructions. It's all charts. And so we're going to go over reading the chart. It's very, very simple once you get a few key pointers on chart reading. And also, if you've never done lace, it's a great beginner, easy lace pattern. So I recommend, if you have never worked with charts or if you've never worked lace and are interested in doing either, to come to that class. The cost is $40 because it does include the pattern. If you already have a pattern, you know, you purchase the pattern on your own, then it's going to be $35 for the class. Bring your yarn. So it requires a little over 1,000 yards of fingering weight yarn. I would say pick either a tonal or a very slightly variegated, very lightly speckled yarn, because you want the lace to show through. And your needles, size 6 needles. So if you're interested in joining in on that class, send us an email to themodernskein@gmail.com, or come in and have us put your name down on the list. I'm only going to have no more than 6 people in the class. So I know we already have, I believe, 2 people signed up for the class. So act fast if you're interested. We have other classes as well this month. We have 3 other classes. A beginner knitting, October 8th. The Kyler on October 11th. And October 20... I need to look. It's on our website. I want to say it's like the 23rd or 26th, something like that. We have Christmas gift knitting. And then first part of November we have ornament and home decor class as well. So, or maybe it's vice versa. Hold on one second and I will know for sure. Okay, it always helps to have the list. I was totally off on everything except for the Kyler class. That's because I'm the only one teaching the Kyler class. Grace is teaching our other classes. Okay, beginning knitting is October 5th. So if you have people that want to learn to knit, it's October 5th, 1 to 3 p.m. Basics of knitting. My chart class is October 11th, 1 to 3 p.m. Christmas gift class. So it will be, you'll get 3 patterns for handmade gifts. It is a 3-hour class, October 27th, 1 to 4 p.m. I'm going to get together a few more details because I believe we've just finalized what 3 patterns it's going to be. There's going to be a scarf with brioche. So if you're interested in learning very, very, very basic brioche, literally just brioche knit, brioche purl, no increases, no decreases, nothing. One of the patterns will be that. So this is a great way to have an intro into brioche. We'll also have one that is in a bulky weight yarn, and then we will have one that's, I think a hat. So you'll need several different size needles, and the patterns are all included, and it's $50. So we'll get a little more detail on our website on that one because you'll need to bring several different types of yarn as well. And then November 8th from 1 to 3 p.m. it will be Christmas ornaments and decorations. So decorating your house or tree for the holidays with hand knit items. That is $40 per person, and again all patterns are included. Bring your scraps of fingering and DK weight yarn, and we will also be providing a large pile of DK and fingering weight, I'll say scraps, you know, like mini skein size amounts, things like that, that everyone can just kind of pull from the bin, mix and match and share with Christmas colors, things like that. So, because most of these things you don't need a full, oh crud. And we're back. So, had some technical difficulties with the microphone. But anyway, yes, so moving on to more works in progress, because I have 2 more to talk about. One I can barely show you. I'm doing a test knit for Lavanya Petrosella, and it is using a skein of fingering weight yarn plus holding 2 strands of mohair held double, alternating, and it is a brioche. I'm just going to show this little section right here because that doesn't really give away much of the pattern. Just shows you some brioche. But look how cool that is. And see, this is the 2 strands of mohair held double on the, I'll say, back side, and then the fingering just sits on like this pillow of mohair. So this pattern so far is really, really nice. I think it's going to be a good one for beginner brioche because it does not appear to have, at the beginning anyway, any brioche increases or decreases. So it'll be just small sections, like 6 rows of brioche regular, and then some other knitting designs. Really neat increasing on the sides to give you a very, you increase very rapidly on this one, which is a lot of what she's been designing lately is rapid increases, which create for a really neat edge when you block it. They tend to spiral on the sides when you wear it. It's really neat. So I'm using hedgehog fingering, the skinny single, and then 2 strands of mohair held double. Just pulling from the outside and the center of a mohair and keeping it in a plastic bag in case it goes, because that can happen with mohair. Okay, and my last work in progress to share is my Birds of a Feather. So, in case you have not known, we are running a Birds of a Feather knit along. And so what that means is you had until September 30th to grab your yarn from us, The Modern Skein, either in person or online, to participate in Birds of a Feather. But I am extending it for one more week. You have till the end of day October 6th, this coming Saturday, to get your yarn to participate in Birds of a Feather. Birds of a Feather is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and this, noisy neighbors, this is Birds of a Feather. This is my progress so far. So I'm on section 6, I believe. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, section 7. And it's a really fun, easy pattern. If you've never worked with mohair, it's a great way to kind of intro into mohair singly by itself, not held double with anything. And it's a really fun, easy pattern. I know we have one lady who started the day we decided to do the knit along, which was when Suburban Stitcher was here for her trunk show in the first part of September. And she cast off last night her finished Birds of a Feather, same colorway that I did, Moody Blues by Suburban Stitcher. And it's beautiful. So you still have time. You have to get your yarn by October 6th, and then you have till the end of November to finish. So you have 2 more months to finish your Birds of a Feather. So if you're participating in another mystery knit along, or if you have something else started, you have a little time. It is a very quick knit. Like we had one lady, Jan's already finished. I'm basically halfway through mine. We have other people that just started, and we have a few that haven't started yet at all. But if you have any questions about the pattern, if you have any, there's like a center spine decrease, any questions with that or anything, every Saturday we're calling it our Birds of a Feather Day. And so that's the day that you can come into the shop, and we'll kind of do little tutorials on maybe that center spine decrease. If you have any questions on the lace section or anything like that, that's kind of our Birds of a Feather Day. Of course, you can come in any day for help, and that's not a problem, but that is kind of our official Birds of a Feather Day. Every Saturday through the last Saturday in November will be our Birds of a Feather Knit Along Day. And so to be eligible for the prize at the end, you have to purchase your yarn from me at the shop. It can be any of the brands. It could have been at the Suburban Stitcher Trunk Show. That's totally fine. Or our upcoming trunk show. It's if she's got mohair. I can't remember. You can purchase that by, well, not at the upcoming trunk show because that's past the date. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Buy the yarn from me. Once you finish, either bring it in and let us see a picture of it, or post a picture on your Instagram or Facebook feeds and tag The Modern Skein in it. And then we will be able to see your finished object and count you in for the drawing. And the drawing will happen December 1st with everyone's finished objects. And it will be for a knitter's backpack. So that's so exciting. And it will be in one of the new colorways that we are getting to the shop very, very soon. We will be giving away a midnight blue knitter's backpack. So that's what you need to do. And speaking of giveaways, since that's my last whip, we just finished yesterday. Yesterday was the last day for Shawl Mania here in the store. So if you aren't familiar with Shawl Mania, it's something that we started this year, but we'll be doing every summer. And it's just a like 3 to 4 month long knit along where you purchase any yarn from the store and knit any shawl that you want. And for every one that you do, and you send us a picture with the receipt, or I have proof of purchase somehow of you purchasing the yarn from us during the time of Shawl Mania, and you finish it before Shawl Mania ends, which is September 30th. So for everyone who finishes, and for every item they finish, they get an entry into the drawing. And the drawing is for this year, And the more people that enter, the more prizes and the bigger and better the prizes get. So for this year, we have a skein of our custom colorway from Twisted Owl. We have our coffee mug. We have Stash Bot, the comprehensive guide on building a successful stash, and our modern skein leather tags. These are great to hang onto your knitter's backpack or to your baskets, things like that. So I am going to stop this real quick, go tabulate the names, and we're going to draw them live on the podcast. Be right back. Okay, so I have all the slips in here. Shake them up real good. I have one. And Texan Knits. It's either Texan Knits or Texas Knits on Instagram. You are our winner for Shawl Mania. That's awesome. I'll be sharing the picture of her shawl that she finished. It is beautiful. It contained a skein of Red Stag fiber in Jasper, which was beautiful. So yes, Texas Knits. I will send you a message on Instagram saying that you're our big winner, and we'll get with you and get you your prize package. So yay, thank you so much for everyone who participated in Shawl Mania. We can't wait to see how many people participate next year, and also, of course, participate in Birds of a Feather. So, okay, moving on. Speaking of Birds of a Feather, if you are interested in doing Birds of a Feather but don't want to do mohair, you can easily substitute lace weight yarn for the mohair sections, and it will just still give you that airy look, but you won't have the fuzzies. So I put together two options, which I think would be really pretty. This would be a nice kind of summery, springy kind of look. This is Pollinate by Bayou City Yarn, and then this is Burr by Tolomatan, which is a lace weight, a really fine lace weight. So that would be really pretty. And then you could also do more of a gray one with a Caldera by Dream, and pairing it with Platinum by Tolomatan, and that would give you a nice striking Birds of a Feather, again without mohair. So that's that. Then where am I going to put this? We have a couple patterns I want to go over. First off, we still have 5 copies of Lina Magazine. So this is issue 6. If you are interested, you can order it online or come in or shoot us an email and reserve a copy for yourself. This magazine, I hate to even call it a magazine. It's more like a coffee table book that comes out 3 times a year. There's amazing patterns in this book. So you want to grab a copy, collect them. If you are interested in collecting the whole series, so this is number 6. I have issues 1 and 2, but I have been told by Lina themselves that they will no longer print issues 1 and 2. So what we have is what we have. I do have about, I think, 6 or 7 copies of issue 1 and 2 left each. I have 2 copies of issue 4, and then I think I'm out of issue 5. So grab them while you can, because they do go fast. The other thing I wanted to say, because by the time I film the next episode, I will have already cast on. And I don't know if you're supposed to share, like on podcasts. I know if you can share things. I'll just do like major spoiler alert. So I'm going to cast on for Stephen West's Mystery Knit-Along. And so it's called Texture Time, and it requires 5 colors, a main color and 4 contrast colors, with your 4th contrast color having the option of being either mohair or Baby Siri or some other textured yarn, or if you don't feel like you want to have a texture fuzz, it can just be another colored fingering weight yarn. So this is my main color. This is Hawk by Hedgehog Fibers in single ply. This is a new one of their colors and it's beautiful. I love it. Then the next color I have is Berry Milkshake, which is kind of a mauve-y, multicolored one, and that's by Ching Fibers. And then we have Deja Vu by Hedgehog. And then this is a Hedgehog potluck that I had sitting in my closet from I don't know where. It may have been a club, it may have been picked up at a store as one of their potluck colors. I'm not entirely sure. And then I'm using Melted Baby Siri by Ching Fibers in the Oyster colorway. Let me see if I can grab all of these. Ah. Ta-da! So there's my colors. You can see a better representation on my Instagram. So that's going to be for texture time. I'm so excited. Pattern releases this Friday. I did swatch, and I am glad I did swatch because I had a different color as one of my contrasts, and I swapped it for this, which was lighter. The one that I had before, if you came in, was Enchanted by Hedgehog Fibers, and it competed too much with Hawk, and I really want Hawk as my main color. So that's that. Last but not least, I have a couple patterns I want to show you guys. First off, if you're interested, this is a pattern book that we have in the store. It's $12.99, and it's got 3 amazing patterns. So you can see this hat, a great textured sweater, and then a very easy, very simple scarf, shawl. And it's just a great kind of, well, it says seasonless. The sweater's more on the winter side, and so is the hat. But they're very easy, great explained patterns, perfect for beginner knits. And it's just a great book. So, reminder that we have that. And then, so, I need one more sweater for my sweater, year of the sweater. And I'm really wanting to do Andrea Mowry's throwback sweater. It's between this and Wool and Honey. But I've done mostly all pullovers except for Josh's cardigan. I'm thinking I want to do a cardigan. And I really love this detailing of the yoke. So I'm leaning towards the throwback sweater. We're getting in a new batch, possibly this week, of Malabrigo Rios. So there'll be sweater quantities of that. And I'm thinking I'm going to pull my sweater base out of that new batch. Then there's also All the Love. It's a sweater designed by Joji, and for the entirety of her having this pattern, I recommend you purchase it directly from her because she gives 100% of the proceeds every year donated to a kindergarten in Argentina where she lives. And apparently the school is near where she lives, but it's for very low poverty income people in the town that she lives in. And it's a cause dear to her heart, and so she's been able to raise quite a bit of money to donate to that kindergarten. So if you're looking for a lightweight sweater, kind of a tunic-y type sweater, slightly boxy design, it's not as boxy as her usual boxies, but has a nice lace detailing. It's a great pattern to go ahead and download and know that the proceeds go to a great charity. Also, if you're looking for a worsted weight shawl, Golden Hour by Andrea Mowry is awesome. I am also contemplating casting that on, but I need to work on clearing out some of my whips at the moment. And then some other patterns just that I'm probably going to end up knitting up or crocheting up for the shop. This is a crocheted pattern called Hotel of Bees. It's a beautiful crocheted shawl. I'm really contemplating crocheting that up for the shop. And then we have the Hala hat, a very fluffy hat. And this is an older Joji pattern, but it's very pretty. It's called, I'm not sure if you would do the traditional Latin pronunciation of the J's, like her name, Joji. So that would be Jujuy or Jujuy. Jujuy just sounds weird. Jujuy? Jujuy? I don't know. But it's a beautiful 3-color shawl. Kind of reminds me of her Slow Curves pattern a little bit, but with more eyelets and only 3 colors. So that's a fun one if you're looking for a 3-color shawl to cast on. One last thing. This is probably going to be one of the more long-winded episodes, apparently. But we have some new yarn into the shop. If you have not been in recently, we already sold out of 3 of the colors that came in. So I can't show you 3 of the colors that we got in because they sold out. I have more on order. But we have new hedgehog yarn. This is called Ferrum. This is beautiful, like irony browns with piney greens all running through it. It's beautiful yarn. Then we have Pollen, really deep golden mustard. Bramble, great kind of peachy undertone with fuchsia, brown, and orange with little tiny bits of pine green speckles and emerald green too. Poison, this is like red lipstick and blacks. It's very pretty. One of my favorite hedgehog fiber colors is Fool's Gold, because you have this beautiful, brilliant Crayola yellow with bright blues and fuchsias and a little bit of teal speckled all in it. And a little brown speck or black. It's kind of a browny black. Then we have Monarch, which is a great peachy with a little orange and blacks and pink specks. And then for the more neutral people, we have Cereal, which is a great tan with a little bit of orange and dark deep teal specks. Pine, which is cream with brown and kind of a piney teal and tiny specks of orange, red colors in here. Very soft, very neutral. Then we have Crystal, which is basically almost a semi-solid, very light, almost more of a green undertone gray than a blue undertoned gray. And then we have Construct, which is gray, mid-tone gray with purple and brown specks. So, I think that'll do it. We've covered all of our events. We do have in 2 weeks' time the October 13th Night Owl Fibers trunk show, so be sure and pop over for that. We have our Sit and Stitch on Fridays in the afternoons and Saturdays in the mornings, and we are now open Tuesday through Saturday. So we are now open 5 days a week, not 4. So Tuesdays hours are 10 to 5, just like every other day. So be sure and stop by. Grace and I will be alternating who's in on Tuesdays. So be sure and drop by. We've actually already had several people. They're probably going to start a little Tuesday sit and knit group. Not sure if it's going to be morning or afternoon, but if you're interested, come on by and we'll see what forms. It'll be really great to have some people in the shop during the weekday as well, not just on the weekends. So I think that's it. Gotta go get ready for opening up tomorrow. It's gonna be a fun week, and we will see you in the shop. All of our details will scroll on the screen afterwards. Of course, our Instagram is at The Modern Skein. Mine is at Mrs._Sharon_Graff, Graff. And you can find us on the web at themodernskein.com, and we do ship worldwide. So thanks for joining in, and we hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.